Welcome to the Connecting Greeks podcast. We're connecting the Greek community all over the world through media, technology, and love for our culture.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Connecting Greeks podcast. On today's episode, we have a very special guest, Peter Minaki. Peter is the founder and administrator of a great food blog called Kalophagas. Today we sit down with Peter and we discuss all things Greek, all things food, all things wine, all of the best things in the world. So sit back, enjoy, and get to know Peter Minaki.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us on our podcast. As always, we have another interesting guest, a good friend of ours, Peter Minaki, who's a Greek Canadian, who's the creator of the popular food blog Kalophagas, which I love that name to begin with. But lo and behold, Peter, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, gentlemen. Good evening, good day, wherever you may be around the world. And it's good to be on board. Hope you guys are well.
Excellent. We're in Boston. You're in Toronto.
Yes. Right? There's an hour flight that divides us. That's it. But and a closed border, unfortunately, right now.
And a closed border, unfortunately, you're right.
Yeah, they got things tight until this whole pandemic thing gets better. So it's for the good of everybody, I guess.
I couldn't disagree with you more. But we're both coming from very strong, prominent Greek communities, right? Boston, Toronto.
Yeah. We have vibrant Greek communities in both Toronto and Boston. I've been to Boston a few times. You guys have. You have the Orthodox seminary there, so you guys pump out a lot of priests and stuff. You guys have lots of churches, which so do we. Like people always ask me back in Greece, do you actually celebrate Easter? Of course, do you guys have Greek food while you're there? Of course, we have Greek restaurants. We have a whole infrastructure of Greek community, our church, our markets. We keep up the traditions as much as we can. We also embrace that we're Canadian or we're American as well, and we're Greeks in the diaspora. Both strong cities with their Greek populations, and as you know, it's funny. Like every part of the diaspora, you have different Greeks from different parts of Greece that settle there for whatever reason, right? Cool. So I know in. Over there, and I did some cooking demos at the Worcester Greek Festival at the St. Spiridon church a few years ago. Community. And for some reason over there, everybody's from Macedonia, Iporo, and Samos over there in that church.
I guess what happens is, one family brings the other, and so on, right?
Exactly. That's the same thing. Right. And so in LA, they have a whole bunch of Greeks from Calabrita. For some reason. So somebody in the old days must have gone over there and sent everybody else there. You go to the oldest community in the United States or North America is actually Chicago. And then they started spreading out.
Interesting.
And yes, obviously New York is bigger now and everything, but the original old first Greek community or settlement was actually Chicago, and then they started spreading out. And do you know where the oldest Greek church is?
Tell us.
Actually, New Orleans.
Oh, you know what I did? You're right. I did read that somewhere not too long ago, and I was like,
I went down there this past February for the first time, and I was just curious, and I Googled it, and I find the Agia Triada, Holy Trinity Greek Church, and the church they have now is a new one that they built after Hurricane Katrina. They had an old one, which is kind of like a house that they turned into church and stuff, and that is the oldest church in North and South America of Greek Orthodox.
Is it still an active church community?
Yeah. We went there on the Sunday with my two travel friends.
Nice.
And as I said, it's a new church. They have the community center right beside it, as a lot of these churches seem to do. And you could tell, like we went for the coffee after the Sunday service with the Paksimari and all that. And we were talking to some of the locals. And you had a combination of the Greeks that have been there for like 2 or 3 generations, and then you had the other Greeks that maybe were born but in the United States, but their parents immigrated, and then you have other ones that were fresh off the boat, so to speak, that maybe came to Canada and the U.S. during this latest crisis in Greece. So they had a little bit of everything. And they have a Greek festival at this church in New Orleans, the Yetriada, that's huge. Like everybody in New Orleans goes to this. Unfortunately, it's been postponed because of the pandemic and stuff.
Right.
But like, we have the whole city going there for like the whole weekend there. People love it.
It sounds like a Mardi Gras.
Oh yeah, it's like that. It's a Mardi Gras, and it's funny. They actually have you get some Greek twists with New Orleans cuisine done down there as well.
Oh, that sounds interesting. So,
Have you guys ever heard of dirty rice?
yeah, I heard of it. I've never had it, but I've heard of it.
So there's this one New Orleans chef, and he does dirty rice dolmades down there.
That
So
sounds
I
good.
love that kind of thing. I love that.
Did he give you the recipe by any chance?
I can give you the recipe. I've got it in one of his cookbooks. I can give you the recipe. And then
Awesome.
when I was down
So-
there, I spoke with a guy brief that's he's a well-to-do a Greek American in Louisiana. He ran for governor unsuccessfully. Came in third a few years ago, and his brother has this chain of hot dog joints called Dat Dog, and it's a hot dog and stuff. But these guys really elevate it, and. Greeks have done good in all facets of hospitality, be it fast food, street food,
Doesn't that seem
burgers,
classic?
steakhouses. Over there where you guys are in New England, most of the pizza joints are owned by Greeks, right?
Right. I don't know how that happened, but you're right. But so, Peter, tell us. So, you were born and raised in Toronto?
Yes. I was born and raised in Toronto. My parents immigrated from Greece separately. My dad in the mid-'50s came here to Toronto, following his uncle, who then told everybody to come over. My mom came in 1966. They met here. I was born here. Both parents from Amindeon, Florinis. We're in northern Greece.
Okay.
And we have a lot of strong Greek traditions. We love our Easter, our Christmas traditions. We have Greek festivals here. Our Greek town, which is on a street called the Danforth, has the largest Greek festival in the world, like every August, where like 1 million people pass through. It's a big street festival. And what else? The Greeks here lobbied and they won. The street signs are bilingual in the Greek town where we are. They're in Greek and in English.
Excellent. So, growing up, I'm sure we all share very similar stories growing up as Greeks, as first generation, our parents trying to instill and keep our Greek culture alive, but making sure that we are adjusting to our Canadian or American communities with our friends and at school. So what path did you take, or what did you decide to do as growing up as a Greek Canadian through school? Was there a direction, or there was a vision that your parents said, I want my son to do this?
Look, all of our parents wanted us to be doctors and lawyers and stuff like that. You had the other ones that were kind of like doing the big fat Greek wedding thing, where they'd have kids so they could have more employees for the restaurants. My dad was in restaurants, but he always, my parents always told me early on, like, get an education, so you have to work hard like we had to in factories or in restaurants and stuff. Yep. I was in the financial field, as I told you guys prior to our live interviews, but I got into food. In the earliest I can remember is in the late 80s. My mom came back from Greece and she surprised everybody. She bought a home in Halkidiki, and that left my brother and I every summer alone, to our own devices. At first it was great, bachelor's paradise, barbecuing, delivery, whatever, right. Having friends over. And then after a couple of summers, we got sick of that, and I started missing home-cooked meals. So I started cooking for myself. Fast forward to about 2007, when I had my first PC. I had the internet. I had a digital camera. I was searching on the internet for some Greek recipes, and I didn't like what I saw online. And I thought that I could do better. And so I started my Kalofagas blog back then on the Blogspot platform. And every year it got bigger and bigger and bigger, meeting people that were interested in what I was doing in Greece and anywhere I visited that found out about this website. So it still averages about 50, 60,000 visitors a month.
That's amazing.
It opened up it caused me to change careers. I was in the financial field, and then in around about a decade ago, I decided to do this food thing full time, when I also was able to do a cookbook. I now have 3 or 4. I do catering here. I do these Greek supper clubs, which are pop-up dinners with, Greek themes. It could be a geographical theme, like, Peloponneso, Nemea. I bring in Greek wines from the region. It could be having to do with the time of the year, like a Pokriatico dinner for Carnival. And I do on average one a month here. Sometimes I'm invited to go and do these in other cities in Canada and the U.S.
That's great.
And it's a nice way. It's a nice way to make a living. I'm very happy.
Not a living, but I think it's a great lifestyle. I mean, that's like a dream come true for any of us to be able to like enjoy the passions of our food culture, wine culture. You meet people. Bravo, so I'm so.
I love it. I love it. It's like find something you truly love, and you'll never work a day in your life, as the saying goes. However, there are times when it's work. You have to be organized.
Right.
You have to keep in top of your mind that there are people that have been to your previous dinners, so they have a certain expectation, and there's the other people that haven't been yet, but they've heard about it, so you have to please them as well. Sometimes you're tired because of other functions, life, you might have a cold, whatever. You have to push yourself. Sometimes things happen when you're cooking, like you have to have a staff to help out, whatever.
I'm sure it's challenging.
Sometimes mistakes happen, whatever. You have to get over the challenges.
Right.
One time I did one of these supper clubs, and the custodian for the venue we're doing the supper club came over, and he was asking me what we wanted turned on in the kitchen. So it was all natural gas. He turned on the stove. I told him I want the oven on, I want the grill on, and he goes, "What about the flat top?" I go, "Yeah, turn that on also." So he opens up the front door of that. He has his little fireplace lighter. He lights it, and his big flash back of a flame.
Oh God!
Gets him, knocks him back 6 feet. The guy can't see. He says the front of his hair is all burnt off. He's got no eyelashes, no eyebrows. We're freaking out. And so then, he goes, "I can't see." And then they call, he didn't want to call the ambulance. Maybe it was a word about immigration. I'm not sure. But eventually the police came. They said, "This is now a labor issue. You've got to get out of the kitchen." That's that. And we waited. And in my conversation, I found out that one of the two police officers was a friend of mine. And I told her, "Look, you got to let me know are we going to go through with this dinner or not? I got to contact people that it's canceled, whatever." She goes, "Hold on, let me call the hospital, see how this guy's doing." He was fine. And she goes, "You know what? This case is closed. You guys can get back in the kitchen." We had like 2 hours to prepare for like a dinner for 50, 60 people.
Talk about pressure.
There you go. So sometimes it's pressure and it's work, but we did it. We got her done.
That's the Greek spirit. You're going to get it done, right?
So, exactly. So there's times that, and when you have those challenges and you overcome them, and the dinner turns out well, it's a feeling of triumph.
It's
and that's the best feeling.
Absolutely. So I'm sure you come across so many individuals to the dinners. Who do you think are your hardest critics when it comes to your food? Because I'm sure I've been in the business myself prior, and I'm sure putting out Greek food for our Greek demographic. I always had come across a lot of critics, but is there anyone in particular that comes down hard on you, other than maybe Ayaya?
Well, that's what I was going to say. Immediately, like sometimes we have it's a wide demographic of people that come to attend these dinners, but there are people that will bring their dad or their mother that's Yaya and Papu ages, right? And that they're going to be like,
oh yeah, definitely
looking for mistakes and this and that. Of course, there's people that are they're going to compare your food with the food that they grew up with, and you can't please everybody. You get 5 or 6 Greeks in a room, and everybody's going to have their own way of making a spanakopita. There's no right or wrong way. Some people have a different way of making filo pastry.
Definitely.
Other people have a different way of doing the spinach, the cheese filling, whatever. So you have to just let that go by. I kind of go by the philosophy of Thomas Keller, the French laundry guy, the chef.
Yes.
I met him here for a book signing in Toronto, and I asked him, like, how do you come up with a menu? He goes, "There's no real magical quotient or what's the word? There's no formula." He just goes, "I cook the food that I love, and hopefully people enjoy it." And that's what I do. I cook the food that I love, and hopefully they like it. And so far, I've been fortunate in that regard.
For you, Good for you. So you've seen over the years, I'm sure you've seen the food evolve in Greece in the sense of, there's a lot of creativity depending where you are visiting Greece, depending regionally. What are your thoughts on today's Greek cuisine?
It's a double-edged sword. I love that the young chefs. There's a lot of young chefs that are doing some amazing things. They're trained and they're doing some fancy stuff. Some of them are perhaps they're making it, they're elevating a little too much. Greek is a rustic cuisine.
Right.
I kind of draw the line at feta foams and stuff like that. I like that they're getting away from like the old Greek town kind of like taverna thing. Like, I want my, here, you order your meal. The guy comes around, the server, hey, here's your dinner. He slaps on your table. And the guy in the kitchen just slaps the food onto the plate. No
Right.
care to the plate, nothing. So they're getting away from that, I think. I like the guys they have an eye on traditions and they do some modern twists with it. I think that's fine.
Right.
What can I like? In Greeks, they've really got into steaks. Good for them. That's fine. Personally, I really don't have a desire to have a steak when I'm in Greece. We can
Okay.
have that over here. I want to have local Greek stuff or something that's interesting, like when I'm in Thessaloniki or Athens or one of the islands, and then you've heard about a hot restaurant and a hot chef, doing some amazing things. And I'm more interested in those kinds of dishes or preparations of Greek food. I love if you find a good Hasapo Taverna outside of Athens, whatever, where the guy's like chopping up the meats, he's grilling for you there, all fresh, local. It's amazing stuff.
Any Peter, any destinations in Greece that you've visited that was eye-opening to you as far from a culinary perspective that you can share with us?
Yeah, yeah. Like anybody that's going to go to Greece, that Thessaloniki and Athens both are, the two largest cities, respectively, have a great food scene. Yanina and Metsovo in Niporos are fantastic.
Sure.
You're going to get like roast lamb, traditional dishes, good pizzas and stuff, fantastic cheeses. If you go to Crete, you can't. It's very hard to go wrong over there. These guys really take care of sourcing their product and stuff.
Right.
In my recent memory, I was in Naxos last year, another great island for Greek cuisine. It's one of the few Greek islands that's actually self-sufficient. They have obviously seafood. They have their fantastic lamb and goat. They have their own naxiotikis patates, which are fantastic. Their cheeses. They even have their own water reservoir in the middle of the island,
Okay.
which they can draw upon.
So what are naxiotikis patates?
It's a yellow potato. It's like a Yukon Gold. It's the closest thing I can. But it's just a really good kitrini yellow potato.
Okay.
Good for either the furno or fried as well.
Okay.
What else? I'm a big fan of the islands that are all along Turkey. Okay. The North Aegean Islands and the Dodekanessia. So Mytilene, Lesbos. They would argue probably the best ouzo in all of Greece. I think you can get good ouzo in many parts of Greece, but there's also a fantastic food scene going on there as well. It's a gem that's waiting to be discovered, and hopefully when this whole refugee thing blows over in that island, because they're getting hit hard pretty bad, people start returning there. Seafood, fantastic there. Those islands all along there in North Aegean, around the Phanesia, practically every Sado Taverna does the sun-dried octopus, which for me is the gold standard, right? They sun-dry the octopus, and then they'll finish off on the grill. What else? I went to Karpathos a couple of years ago. Those are all those islands. A small island, a little east of Crete called Kassos.
Okay.
Nice, simple Greek dishes the way it was 20, 30 years ago, where they haven't changed. You eat at the taverna whatever the fishermen caught that day, or wherever the farmers got that's available, and that's what they have. That's the menu. Right. And I'm fine with that.
And Peter, we're talking a lot about food, but what about when it comes to wine? What is your preference when it comes to Greek wine? Or do you have a preference?
I'm not. My parents come from a great wine growing region, which is they're known for their rosés and sparkling wines for many years. The Xinomavro grape varietal is indigenous to that area as well. Nausa nearby is fantastic. There's a fantastic winery just outside of Thessaloniki by the Yero Vasiliou, Evangelos Yero Vasiliou. He's making some of the best wines in Greece. He's a part owner of another winery outside of Kavala called Bibliophora. Vrama, a few years ago, into Vrama. They have a great wine story over there. Okay, there's 2 or 3 wineries that are phenomenal there. And then going south, obviously the Nemea region is phenomenal. Down in Laconia, I went to the Batistas winery outside of Neapoli, and one of the best Greek whites that I love comes from there. It's the Kilonitsa.
I have to agree, not because I'm being biased, but my wife is from that area. Whenever we go down there, we drink a ton of Kilonitsa.
Oh yeah, it's good. If you want to talk about one of the best reds from Greece, probably the Megaspilio variety of reds, where they have it's a dry Mavrovafni based wine.
Right.
Fantastic. In Paros, you have a Moraitis winery, which I really love. What else? The Cretan wines, they're good as well. I think they have a little bit more work to do, but I've been to the Manusakis winery outside of Chania, and they're doing some good things. The gal there with her husband, they're Greek Americans, and she's some good stuff over there as well. And I love my tsikoro, my raki. Everywhere I go, it's good stuff as well. I'm a cigar smoker, like casually, and when I'm over there, I like getting the barrel-aged chipura, the barrel-aged.
Those are becoming really, really popular, and
those
I gotta
are really,
say,
really good. That's a nice way to finish off a meal as well.
Excellent.
There's if I miss some wineries, my apologies.
I think you've covered pretty much. I think the basis for anyone who's listening that there's so much to seek out. There's so much to see and do and eat and try in Greece that you can just pick one location and spend your whole time while visiting Greece, and you'll get a lot out of it, in my opinion.
And to add that, for those that are listening, Greeks that are in the diaspora as well, try the Greek wines and especially the ones that are the indigenous varietals. There's a lot of interesting wines that are out there.
Absolutely.
You don't have to have the cab sauves and all that are made in Greece. Try the indigenous varietals, and you'll be in for quite a surprise. It's Greek wineries' time to shine, I think.
Definitely.
And I should actually mention as an afterthought, of course, Santorini's Acetico and their whites and stuff are phenomenal as well, of course.
Phenomenal. So, Peter, what about when you're visiting the U.S., any favorite Greek restaurants that you are a fan of?
Well, let's start out with Boston. I went to Committee. I went to Kavos, which I liked. I went to Porto, which is it's Greek owned, but it's more of a Mediterranean thing, and I ate very well over there.
All good restaurants.
Let's see. There is Manhattan's is probably home, and these are the ones that brought white tablecloth, fine Greek dining to North America, and everybody else is trying to do that also now, right?
Right.
Montreal is where Istatorio Milos began.
That's right.
So Kostas Piliadis and his family began over there. The original restaurant is still in operation, even though it's a new location. It's been renovated. Yep. He now has locations in London, Vegas. He's in the Athens Hilton, Miami, and of course New York. So they're doing quite well. And he's the guy that actually did the whole thing of having the fish on display, have the waiters come around, and you can pick the seafood that you want, and they have it grilled.
Really elevated the bar for Greek cuisine, in my opinion.
Absolutely, yeah. It's not cheap, but it's a good experience. And here's a little tip for the folks over there. If you're in a city where Milos is located, give them a call and see if they're offering a prefix lunch. They usually do it. Yeah. And you can dine at Milos and get the experience for much more affordably than you would at nighttime.
I think Ari, you got to make reservations for us.
You guys go to Montreal now. As soon as things open up, you're only about 4 or 5 hours away from Montreal. You can go to Milos over there.
Oh, definitely. I've dined at Milos in Montreal. I've dined at the one in New York and so forth. And I got to say, there's something special about Milos in Montreal.
Okay, well, that's the original one. In Chicago, good things are being done by Louis Alexakis. He's got the Avli restaurants, one in Winnetka, which is north suburb of Chicago, and
Yep.
he's just opened a second one in the Lincoln Park area. He's doing good things as well. What else is there? In L.A., I was down there a couple of years ago, and there's a new restaurant that opened up in Beverly Hills called Lucia, and it was really, really good. I like when these restaurants pay respect to the traditions and they don't Americanize it too much. You won't find any iceberg lettuce in their Greek salads and stuff over there. So,
I hope not.
mind you, out of pure curiosity, I haven't been there yet. I want to go to Tarpon Springs.
Oh, I've got roots there.
As you know, they like even their mayor is of Greek background. They have a lot of people that originally came from the island of Kalymnos over there because of the sponge diving.
Yes.
The sponge diving industry totally died around those islands. So these guys went over to Tarpon Springs. They could do some of that also. They did some boat tours,
And Peter, I don't know if I told you, but my background, both of my parents are from Kalymnos, so I have a little bit of that acknowledgement about the.
I've been at Kalymnos, and people eat very well there, and they're very nice folks. I eat very well over there.
Tell me something that I've been always, even though I have family in Tarpon, I've never really understood the Greek salad that they offer in Tarpon. Why does it come always over a bed of potato salad?
That's what I want to check out. I was reading up on that, and apparently it was somebody, an African American person, a lady I believe was in the kitchen, and they're trying to bulk up the salad, and they put a scoop of potato salad in there with a Greek salad, and it's stuck. I forget which of the restaurants actually came up with it. They wanted to get more authentic, and they cut it out of their salad, and people freaked out. They wanted it back, so they're stuck with it down there.
It's actually not that bad. I was impressed.
Well, there you go. Well, today on my website, I shared a kritiki salata, which is basically a choriatiki that has boiled potatoes in there and some boiled egg mixed into the mix.
That sounds pretty.
It's a meal. It's a meal. Like there's no mayonnaise and stuff in there, but it's a meal. It's good. Like there's little twists and stuff. There's different regional variations with a choriatiki. Like you go in the Kikladas, they have their fresh antotiro, which is it's like a tart, briny kind of a ricotta kind of a cheese.
Right.
It's soft, and they put that rather than the feta. Some islands will put like in Century, they'll put capers or caper leaves in with their choriatiki. Your family's from Kalymnos, and so they have their salads, the mirmizeli.
Mirmizeli, right.
Which is basically a choriatiki meets a panzanella salad, right?
Right.
So I love all these little regional variations.
It's so cool.
Really, really cool.
Awesome. So do you can you pinpoint? Do you have a favorite Greek food that is dear to your heart?
That's too hard to
I'm sure
pinpoint.
it is.
It's too hard to pinpoint. The best thing I can tell you is depends on the time of the year, the season. So right now it's summertime. I love whole grilled fish. Maybe some a Mediterranean potato salad. It's warm with a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of mustard in there, capers, parsley, dill, grilled fish, horta, grilling some octopus in the summer,
Nice.
Lamb chops. We own that. We own octopus. We own lamb chops. Right. And I'm talking about lamb chop. Where like over here in Toronto, we got some Greek butchers where they'll give you the lamb chop where they haven't Frenched it. So you got the meat and the fat all along the bone. And, you cook it till about medium. You want to get kind of like a pork chop. You want that fat to render off, get a little crispy. I love a good pork chop. I love doing like the pancetas, the pork belly pork chops in the summertime.
Making us hungry.
If you have a smaller group of people, you get a leg of lamb, put that on the rotisserie as well. In the wintertime, I love the braised dishes, the slow cooked dishes, like coquinisto, a lamb shank, a pork shoulder in the oven, all year round. Stuffed peppers, love that.
Depends
on the time of the year. Like I like the seasonal stuff, and that's where my appetite will gravitate towards.
That makes a lot of sense. Absolutely. I mean, obviously,
here's another one. It's summertime coming up. This is one of my favorite summertime Greek dishes. Kouloukefákia yemista with avgolemono.
Ooh, you know what I had the other day that was delicious? Zucchini fritters, and I always butcher how to say it.
Coloquito que ustedes. Coloquito que ustedes are amazing. They're not that hard. I think the biggest mistake people make is they grate the zucchini
Yeah.
and they don't squeeze enough
They don't.
liquid or water out of the zucchini. It's very important that you squeeze it as much as you can. I tell people, here's another top tip for people. Put some salt in there, let it strain for a couple of hours, and then put it inside a tea towel and just wring it dry until you get as much water as you can out of the zucchini. Then add all your other ingredients, and then add your binder, which is probably some breadcrumb or flour. And because it's dry, you don't have to add so much of the breadcrumb or the flour, so it's going to be a lighter zucchini fritter. So what happens is people don't draw out enough water or squeeze enough water. They have to add more binder, and then it's become a heavier. And it's almost like a hockey puck. You can kill somebody if you throw it at their head.
Also, you guys use those as hockey pucks.
Not mine, but somebody else's. Mine are nice and light.
Wow, this is all good stuff, Peter. I mean, you're making us, hungry just from listening to all these tips and all these ways of preparing food. But you're also a man that puts together a lot of private dinners. I noticed that you do the supper club.
Yes.
So during these times, obviously, that we're going through, are you adjusting or just kind of sitting on the sidelines until things get back to normal? Anything new that you're doing despite what we're dealing with?
I'm on the sidelines right now. Here, like we have provinces in Canada. You guys have states, so that's our equivalent. In the province of Ontario, where Toronto is, where I'm located, we've just today gone into phase 2 of opening things up slowly. So we have gatherings of maximum of 10 people. Restaurants can now have their patios open with the 2 meter distance between them and stuff. And the other restaurants that had to shut down, they pivoted, as the word is described it, into selling takeout and pickup, and they changed the law so that these people could deliver and sell alcohol for takeout and stuff. I don't have a bricks and mortar restaurant. A lot of these guys had to because they had staff to take care of, they had rent and costs and stuff.
Right.
I have a small kitchen that I use for my catering stuff. I thought about doing something like that, but I'm just afraid I wouldn't be able to handle the demand if I did that. I'm fortunate in that I can sit out and wait my turn. When things open up to, like, let's say they allow 50 people, I'll probably start doing my cooking classes again, which is another aspect of what I do. I can cater at people's homes with dinner parties and stuff, and then these supper clubs as well. So when the local health officials say that we can do that, then I'll get into it. And even then, it's going to take some time because there's some people that are still timid about going out, even if the regulations say that they can go out. Today was our first day. It looked like a lot of the bars, restaurants got some people, which is good, but it's going to take a while, I think. So I'm just waiting it out. I do still get some catering requests, like somebody might want a moussaka, a pasticcio. I make homemade filo pies. I do that all year round. During Easter, I sell my own churrequia, and that did very well again. So, I just sit on the sidelines and wait my turn.
So while you're on the sidelines, in the meantime, tell us to our listening audience, how can they find out more about you? Can they follow you? Any of your platforms that you want to let us know about?
Well, first and foremost is the website, calofagas.ca. That's the mother of where everything began. There they can find lots of recipes. Sometimes I have a few articles on parts of and stuff where I've traveled to. And then on Instagram, again, at Calofagas, they can follow what I've been cooking and doing there. Twitter, the same handle, at Calofagas. On Facebook, I have a fan page for Calofagas. They can add me if they want on my personal profile, Peter Minaki, but just send a note so I can know who they are, because some people just seem to, send friend requests just like they're collecting coins rather than actually having like a real connection.
Gotcha.
And so they can see what I'm doing through all those platforms.
Right.
On Eventbrite, they can subscribe at Eventbrite as well and see when my next event is, be it in Toronto or any place else where I sell events. I did a few classes during the pandemic online.
Cool.
Where I used Zoom. They went well. I'll probably do some more again in the fall. I think at this point in time, a lot of people are also using Zoom for work, and I think that they've been tapped out. They don't want to. They got to do for work. The last thing they want to do is sit with me for a couple of hours, or somebody else, and go through a cooking class. I'll probably revisit that in the fall. Sure. And that way people across Canada, US can actually follow along and sit in one of my cooking classes through Zoom.
And let's talk about, you also have some cookbooks, right?
I have some cookbooks. They can go on Amazon.com and search Peter Minaki. There's about 4 or 5 books that I have there. Okay. My publisher, they're affiliated with Barnes & Noble, who just opened up their stores, and they want the authors to push people buying books from Barnes & Noble. So just go to Barnes & Noble or Amazon, search Peter Minaki, and you'll see my books. Mediterranean cuisine. It's basically Greek food, but there's a few other regions that we take part in, or get involved with. Living in Toronto, Boston, these big cities, we're exposed to a lot of international cuisine, and so that comes into play as well with my food. I love all cuisines, and Mediterranean Greek is the heart of it all. But I love all food. If it tastes good, I'm in.
So now that you just mentioned that, when you're not having Greek, what's your go-to?
You know what? I'll tell you. Let me put it this way: when I'm in Greece, I'm eating Greek for like 6. I'm there for 6 weeks. I'm eating Greek, and then by the end of the holiday, I'm missing Asian food.
Asian, okay.
I'm missing Asian food. Here in Toronto, we have a big Asian community, and Toronto can boast of having really good Asian food. Chinese, Hakka. Have you guys have any Hakka down there in Boston?
I don't think so. What is Hakka?
Hakka is the border cuisine, China and India. So think Tex-Mex, but between China and India. So it's a little bit Chinese, a little bit Indian. It's spicy, and it's really, really good. We have Vietnamese stuff. We have Korean, which is really big. Obviously, Chinese from different regions, Hong Kong all up to the north, like, Mandarin and stuff. So we got it all. We got these guys here that, there's this one restaurant here called Fishman's Lobster House, and they got these big platters of like these lobster towers. They got these crab towers. Really, really visually impressive, and it tastes good as well. Dim sum places.
The food scene there is really interesting, huh?
That's the stuff I miss because I know they have Asian places in Greece, but again, I don't want to eat the international stuff. I want to eat the Greek stuff when I'm over there. But I find myself missing that. What else? It's probably the Asian food, because everything else we can get in Greece. Finally, in Greece, after the past few years, they're making good pizza over there.
That's right. I gotta agree. When I was there a couple of years ago, I was pretty impressed. The pizza options, right?
Yeah, they're having wood-burning ovens. They're learning how to make a good dough. Greece's market has opened up where they have access to real mozzarella and some other ingredients, and then they've actually made a pizza that internationally is what everybody's used to, rather than the Roma pizza that we knew like back when we were kids that had any chicken tiriados in the fridge, grate them. They had canned mushrooms. They put the peppers, any sort of salami on top, and that was their pizza. Right. It's tasty, but it's not the pizza that everybody knows about.
No. Excellent. All right. Ari, any last minute questions for our good friend Peter?
No, I mean, I've barely said anything, and that's because the more interesting the guest is and the more knowledgeable, the less I speak. So thank you so much for that.
My pleasure.
And man, oh man, did you make me hungry. This was like unbelievable.
I love being accompanied with people that love food and talking about it. And hopefully things open up where we can meet up and we go for a real bite to eat and talk and have some drinks one-on-one.
Definitely. Yeah, we absolutely should. And you know what? You said before you were kind of tired of the Zoom aspect of it, but you know what? Maybe we could do a little bit of a pairing, like a quickie class with a quickie wine pairing, and because our wine webinars on Zoom are pretty good, and I'm sure yours are good. Maybe we could do a combination, and then when things open up, we could do
we can do that. I'm not Adi, I'm not tired of Zoom. I just think a lot of people up there they've gotten overkill from it. Like a lot of people are working at home, whatever, and they're using Zoom for meetings, etc. And so they're getting burnt out by it. So I think we can do something like that in the fall when people aren't really staying outdoors in their backyard. They have a lot of other stuff to do now, and then it'd be a perfect time to get back indoors and to do the classes and talk about wines and all that kind of stuff for sure.
Absolutely, yeah.
Definitely. Excellent. Well, Peter, we want to thank you so much for taking the time.
My pleasure, gentlemen.
Great. This won't be the last time that we have you together with us.
Anytime. It's
Back here and
talking about
definitely great to be together.
Thank
All right, Peter. Well,
all right, guys.
enjoy the
you
rest
so
of your
much.
day.
I will, and stay safe, and we'll see you guys again soon. All right.
We'll
Stay
talk
safe.
soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, cheers.
Cheers.